from different parts of the world. Before moving further, let's just decide on a few ground rules. We would request you to keep your cameras on if you are comfortable, just so that we have a good discussion, a candid chat with our speaker today, who will be joining us in a while. And keep your audios off if you're not talking, so that there is no disturbance in the chat that we're going to have. I am Akanksha Marwa. I'm the co-founder of Accords International. I am a restorative justice facilitator and trained in mediation. I'm also doing my PhD in restorative justice. And as you must have already seen about Accords International, it is an organization dealing with conflict resolution. So what our objective in Accords International is to provide you, our audience, with dispute resolution methods which are sustainable and peaceful. We provide you with all the fireside chats, webinars, workshop, boot camps, trainings. One of the upcoming training Upasana will be talking about in a while. And once again, thank you for joining us. We'll be sharing with you our website links. Save that with yourself and you can check all the services that we offer, all the previous programs that we have conducted. Some of them are already on YouTube channel, the videos that you can watch of our previous workshops and trainings. And with this, I pass it on to Kriti. Over to you.
Thank you, Akansha. A very warm welcome to each one of you, to all the participants here. Welcome to the wonderful, lovely evening with us. Today, I sit here in a dual capacity. First, as the Assistant Vice President of the Accords International. Secondly, I sit here as the convener of the ADR cell of Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Management Studies, which is the partner in this fireside chats. The topic for today's fireside chat is quite interesting, since we have already the COVID cases rising again. So there is this element of fear that are we again going back to the virtual life that we somehow just managed a couple of years back. So, and if we go back to the virtual life, then what would be the fate of all the dispute resolution mechanism? Do we go back to the virtual courts again? And what are the different issues related to it? So these are some specific concerns that we'll be addressing in today's fireside chat. I hope that it turns out to be an interesting discussion and a very worthwhile chat with Pranjal Sinha, who will be joining us shortly. So, but before that, we have certain exercises for you. I'll pass it on to Upasana, who will be sharing about the Accords International much more in detail, and also about the training and the exercise that we plan for our participants here. So over to you, Upasana.
Thank you, Kriti, for introducing the topic. And I would like to welcome everyone who has joined us today from different parts of the world for taking out time for this very interesting discussion and the activities that we're going to do. So I am Upasana Singh, and I am founder and CEO of Accords International. Akansha has already told you about how our vision is to innovate in dispute resolution mechanisms and sort of bring to Indian participants and participants from the Indian subcontinent newer ways of resolving disputes in their lives and their workplace. So today, it's about online dispute resolution and how we can see mediation in it. It's not only a Zoom call mediation. There are many facets to it. So we will get on to that, but I hope all of you are feeling very active. You're present there because Akansha is going to take you to a very interesting activity which we planned out. So I hope you like it. So Akansha, over to you.
Thank you. So before going to online mediation, let me just summarize so that we have a base to start with. So mediation is a process where a neutral party, a third party, tries to enable communication between the two parties who are at dispute. So a very basic definition of mediation that we know. On this definition, we are going to build, and I'm going to share with you a small video, 2-3 minutes video. And while you're watching that video, I'm putting 3 questions in the chat box. While you're watching that video, answer the questions that have been put there in the chat box. And when you are answering those questions, make sure that you write the question number so that we know the question you are answering to. All right. So Upasana, would you share the questions? I'll share my screen with the video.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It's a simple exercise. There is a video that we would be displaying. Watch the video and answer the questions which are there in the chat box. So here we go.
A mediator's tool chest. Okay, well, before we get started, you should know that there are 5 different styles of conflict. My Shaolin Temple style defeats your monkey style.
Can we go? I have a lot of work to do.
No, this is important. Okay, the first style is lose-lose. Hold on, please. Okay, if we do lose-lose, neither of you gets what you want. Do you understand? You would both lose. Now I need to ask you, do you want to pursue a lose-lose negotiation?
Can we just skip to whatever number 5 is, win-win or whatever?
Win-win is number 4, and number 5 is win-win-win. The important difference here is with win-win-win, we all win. Me too. I win for having successfully mediated a conflict at work. Okay, so this is the disputed poster. Now, one at a time, I want you to express your feelings using I emotion language and no judging or you statements.
I got this poster for Christmas, and I feel I want to see it every day. It makes me feel like the babies are the true artists, and God has a really cute sense of humor.
Come on, seriously, that?
I don't like looking at it. It's creepy and in bad taste, and it's just offensive to me. It makes me think of the horrible, frigid stage mothers who forced the babies into it. It's kitsch. It's the opposite of art. It destroys art. It destroys souls. This is so much more offensive to me than hardcore porno.
Okay. Stop. Let's see if we can't just brainstorm and find some creative alternatives that are win-win.
Win.
Yes, thank you, Pam. How about Angela makes the poster into a t-shirt which Oscar wears. That way he can never see it, and whenever she looks at Oscar, she can see it. Win, win, win.
No.
No.
Okay, well, brainstorm. Own the solution.
How about I leave it up?
How about she takes it down?
How about Angela can keep it up on Tuesdays and Thursdays?
Okay, that is called a compromise, and it is style 3, and it is not ideal. To sum up, win-win, make the poster in a t-shirt. Win-lose, take the poster down. Compromise, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the answer is make the poster into a t-shirt. Win-win.
Win.
Fine.
But
It is done.
You solved it.
Yes.
Well, good. We can throw that one out.
So I see a lot of responses in the chat box. So let's start with the topmost one. All right. So Divya Verma responds to the first question, which is, what do you like most about the video, which is win-win situation for both the parties. So Divya, do you want to talk about it? Okay, so one of the distinct features.
Yeah. Or Akansha, if you want, can we just quickly read the messages?
Yeah.
And
So,
go ahead. Yeah.
One of the distinct feature of mediation is that it is a win-win for all the parties, which ensures that all the parties get what they want. So yes, it talked about the win-win. So the mediator ensured on paper that parties would be getting what they want. So for the first question, we do have win-win situation, all-win situation, positive response of the party, that is win-win. Now coming to the second question, that is what went wrong. So there are responses like there was no opening statement, yes. How compromise can be win-win situation. So that is a difference that the mediator needs to know, that compromise is not collaboration, which is there in mediation. So mediator need to know the difference between the two. Then we have quite informal. So informal is, see, some mediators do call it an informal process because there is no straitjacket formula how the process would go. But when we say quite informal, it means that there were no rules established. There was no explanation of the process. So mediator, they have their different styles, but they need to be explained to the parties. So informal needs to be explained. So that is how we would explain it as. And there is no clarity in the expression, yes. Okay, so most of the answers do not have a number. I'm skipping them.
So I really want to highlight one comment by Tilakanan, Dr. Tilakanan.
Yeah.
So he mentioned in the order of the questions that he said about everyone's victory. There is no clarity in his expressions. Proper introduction should have been there. So very nice, Dr. Tilakanan, because you have been trained by Accords International and you know mediation. How mediation works, you are able to pinpoint the irregularities and improper demeanor of the mediator. However, I want to make one thing clear here, that our intention with the video was beyond that. We just wanted our audience who are not even mediators yet to sort of observe and penetrate through the incorrect demeanors, incorrect attitudes of all the parties there. Even the parties themselves, there was a clear power imbalance. The person who is trying to mediate, trying to resolve conflict, is trying to overpower. And towards the end, if you have observed, that person sort of got so engrossed and so committed to get the settlement done that he was not even realizing that the parties are not comfortable with the settlement. So this was a sort of situation where they were trying to picturize a workplace mediation. So your comments are welcome. You can go on putting comments in the chat box. Here, I think there is one more comment here. Khushi said that mediator's positive attitude of mediator towards solving the dispute, win and win. Okay. Introduction would be better. Yes.
I think yeah, I was coming to Megha's only, that especially the third answer, mediator needs to have a passive role. So when we talk of the passive role, it is not passive as it not being a part of it, but only leading parties to the direction of a resolution. So here, active role, if I could talk more about it, it means that he was not letting parties tell what they want and just saying that, okay, this is a solution, which is right for both of you. So letting parties take the course of solution that they want. Yes, Upasana.
So we can also take up what Dr. Sinha is saying here. He's highlighting that how we can bring out the Indian mediators and the way they mediate. So is there a difference between the way Indian mediators mediate and the way we saw in maybe we can discuss a bit on that.
I think we can take that question now once we delve into the chats, because we do have questions related to how even our speaker today has seen mediations happening. But also related to the question, we have one more, that a proper negotiation can be done even if the parties are not ready. Compromise is not the solution. So mediator needs to know that it is not the compromise that we're looking for, it is the collaboration where parties come forward. And I think more or less we have covered all the answers, and I congratulate those who have responded. And those who knew the similar answers but did not respond, that we're halfway there. We know how conflict resolution and mediation works and how it should be. And with this, I would pass it on to Upasana, if she would like to talk about the training specifically.
Yeah. So we are sort of devoting 8 minutes of our info session today to our upcoming training that Accords International is conducting in the month of June. So as I can understand from the registration forms that we receive, that there are a lot of people who are not even from legal background. And this is so delightful for me that even non-lawyers are here. And please, you can do a thumbs up who is not a lawyer here in the meeting. You can just put your profession in the chat box, and we can know that our friends from social science background are also joining us. Our friends from political science, psychology background. Thank you, Vinod there. Thank you. So continuing from there, we wanted to talk about our upcoming mediation training that we are doing in June 2023. And I would like Dhruv to share the link if Dhruv, you're all right with that. And please let me know if my screen is visible.
We can see your screen.
Are those all the other points? I would like to see those, please.
I would request everyone in the chat, in the meeting, to please mute themselves. Yeah, that would be great. Let me just move it. Yeah. Can you see my screen, Accords International's website?
Not yet. Yeah, we can now.
All right. So in the chat box, it is the link to our website, accordsinternational.org. When you go on the right, then you will find in the bottom right, you will find, can you see this blue bottom right apply now button? If you go to this button, then this will divert you to our training. So our training is a 60-hour accredited mediation training. It's an online training, completely virtual, spread over 9 days, 13 sessions and 12 trainers, as you can see. So there is a detailed brochure. If you will click on the brochure, it will direct you to the detailed brochure. I'm not going into every detail of the training, but as far as the key benefits and the key points of the training are concerned, we have divided the training into, let me just take you to the timeline here. So we have divided the training in different important sessions, wherein we are going to talk about mediation 101, basic what is mediation, stages of mediation. Then we are going to deal with the conflict, concept of conflict, types of conflict, understanding conflict as a mediator is very important. Then we are going to talk about active listening. Active listening is, I think it should be marked as the tool and the skill of 21st century. Active listening, we have to stop our mental chatter and start listening. Listening can solve 50% of the disputes. That is my belief. Then we're going to talk about opening statement in detail. Everybody gets the chance to sort of rehearse their opening statement. I could see that quite a few people mentioned in the chat box that opening statement was missing. So everybody realizes the importance of opening statement there. We have detailed sessions on effective communication, techniques and tools of negotiation. Our collaborator from South Africa, Mediation Academy, South Africa, Barry Gravenstein, he's a lovely friend. So he's going to take the session on techniques and tools of negotiation. Then art of asking question, Jerry O'Sullivan from Ireland is going to take the session. So then we're going to delve into the important documents in mediation. So what are the documents? Are documents required? Can I submit evidence in mediation? What happens with the documents later after the mediation is done? How is the confidentiality and privacy maintained if I am submitting the document? Does it have to be notarized? So XYZ questions will be dealt by AJ Jawad in this session on documents. Then we're going to do principles and ethics. So just like this video that we saw, there were a lot of ethical issues in this video. There were a lot of principles flouted in this video. We're going to understand what are those principles, what are those pillars in mediation. Then we're going to deal with impasse. Victor Schachter, he's a brilliant mediator. I think he has trained one of the initial generations of mediators in India. So his organization, Foundation for Sustainable Rule of Law Initiative, it is collaborating with us, and he's going to take the session on how to deal with impasse in mediation. Then we're going to talk about what next, way forward. And yes, then the final assessment, that you need to pass the final assessment to complete your training and get certified as a mediation. It is an internationally accredited training wherein you will get a certificate of being an international mediator. And after doing bridging courses, if need be, in different countries and jurisdictions, you are eligible to practice mediation anywhere in the world. Then if you, what is the process of applying here? So if you go to the apply now button, the blue button on the right, it will divert you. It will divert you to the apply now page. And here our domestic Indian participants can pay through Razorpay, and international participants, they use PayPal. You come back to the page, fill the registration form, and then it is done. There is also an observer program that we have launched this time. So it's a very interesting thing that we are sort of introducing and trying out. So let me just click on it. So observer program is where when you join us as an observer, so you are not participating in the role plays. However, you are observing the role plays. You will not participate in the final assessment. So you will get a certificate of participation, not certificate of being a mediator. So here, observer program, if you think it's quite in terms of the fee, we are charging 16,000 as an early bird registration fee, sort of like $200 US and 160 pounds. So observer program is comparatively quite low in terms. It is 6,500, and then you can convert if you intend to midway during the entire training. The dates of the training, as you can see, we are starting on June 10th, and the final assessment is on July 2nd. So you're gonna have breaks during the training. It's not like it's like a regular, continuous, rigorous training. There are like sessions for 2 hours during working days. You can find the detailed schedule in the brochure, and we can also send it to you. We will share an inquiry form in the meeting. Pratik, if you have the link, you can share the inquiry form in the meeting. So this inquiry form, you can fill this form. It'll like take like 20-25 seconds of yours, and we can get in touch with the people and participants who are interested. So that's it. Is there any question that you would want me to answer here?
Ma'am, I do have a question to this.
Yeah.
So this observer program is specially designed for students like me who are not professional mediators, right? So how, like, we are going to, will be a part of this. So is there somehow like, we'll be like more, because I don't think we'll be able to participate in the final assessment, but there are other accreditations attached to it. Can you please explain a brief more on that the people or participants here are more clear about the observer program?
Yeah, thank you. So I think you have rightly said that the observer program is for the benefit of students primarily, in terms of the fees also, and also in terms of the pressure. Final assessments are sometimes quite sort of pressurizing, and there's a lot of mental tension that sometimes students take while sitting in the final assessments to be mediators. So their observer program gives you the chance to attend the expert sessions, interact with the experts, and then make a informed decision, maybe midway in the training, if you want to go ahead for the complete training, or even if you want to go for the certificate of participation. In terms of skills that you will learn, obviously you will participate in all the activities: active listening, effective communication, negotiation. As students, it will help you in your mediation competitions. As lawyers, it will help you in your profession. As individuals, it will help you in your life, your day-to-day dealings with your family members, your friends, your colleagues. So those are the sort of detail of Observer program, and I'm willing to answer any particular question. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I think Pranjal is also here, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, he is here, but he is in breakout room.
In the breakout, no problem. Is there any other question that you would want to answer? You want me to answer? We still have 2 minutes to go for the fireside chat. Or if you think that there is no particular question right now, then you can put the question in the chat box. If you and you can even send me a private chat if you have any particular question that it comes to you later during the chat. So I would be willing to answer that also. Pratik, if you can share the training link again and bring back Akanksha, Pranjal, and Kriti.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Is this training for trained certified mediator? So Wala has a question. Hi Wala, good to see you again. Thank you for joining. Yeah, why not? A refresher course for a certified mediator is, see, every training has something new. It's not as if in 40 hours of training you become an expert mediator and then you don't need a refresher course. So yes, every training has a new aspect to it. So why not? I hope I answered your question. So Pranjal is here. Hi Pranjal, good to see you.
Hey, good evening, Upasna. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I hope you're doing good as well.
Bilkul mast. Excited for this.
Super. We have a lot of questions for you. So, all right. So I think we can straight away get into the chat. But however, I would like to invite Dhruv to introduce you to all our participants. Dhruv, please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on a Saturday evening. I'll introduce myself. My name is Dhruv Kalia. I am a law student from National University for Advanced Legal Studies, NLU Kochi. And for the people here, you're a very familiar figure. But for those still not know you, we'll welcome Mr. Pranjal Sinha. He's a lawyer based from Bangalore and has been passionately working towards improving the access of justice in India. He co-founded Sinha, an online dispute resolution platform which helps people resolve disputes out of court and fully online, and was recognized by the Google Startup Weekend as the socially most innovative platform of 2015 and by the Department of Justice, Government of India, in the top 12 disputes resolution bodies in India in 2017. Sinha has handled more than 2 crore plus cases and witnessed 35 lakhs plus settlements online. Sinha has impaired 3,000 plus mediators, arbitrators, case managers who are present in 443 cities across India and fluent in 31 plus local languages to help people resolve their disputes fully online. Pranjal is also a TEDx speaker and the youngest recipient of prestigious JAMS International Fellowship in the world. As a part of the fellowship, he attended the program on negotiation at Harvard Law School. Additionally, Pranjal also conceptualized and is the chief coordinator of Indian Mediation Week, one of the largest access to justice campaign in the world. Based on the motto, Suljhao Magar Pyar Se, resolve but with compassion, the campaign aims to create awareness and sensitize the common man of India with the benefits of resolving the disputes by communicating and collaborating instead of fighting inside the courtrooms. I welcome you, sir. Thank you so much for coming and joining us today here this meeting.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dhruv. Very kind of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pranjal, for joining us. And now when Dhruv is saying it is Saturday evening. So yeah, thank you for joining us on a Saturday evening. And I think I should thank everyone else to join us on Saturday evening. And I think we'll be more mindful next time and be less cruel to all our community members to not to put it on a Saturday evening.
Any discussing mediation on a Saturday evening, nothing like it. It's ideal. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. So it's a great start with that positive attitude. Pranjal, my first question, and I think it's obvious. Please tell us more about your journey. Your being an ODR expert, going to jams, and then starting summer. It's brilliant. So please tell us about your journey.
Awesome. Yeah, sure. Thank you. First of all, thank you, Upasana. Thank you, Kansha. Thank you, Kriti, for having me here. I think diving in, it's like to like little bit about me, which Dhruv couldn't say, which was like, so I am from Uttar Pradesh. Like my parents are Kanpur and Allahabad, and then I was born in Noida, and then uske baad did my law school from NUJS Calcutta, and then second year only we started, and now we moved to Bangalore. So right now we are based in Bangalore. I think with respect to the journey, I think two things which I'll highlight. One is I think there has been a lot of good luck involved. I always tell my friends, my family, I'm an extremely lucky guy. Like I always find the right people. Like it was a good college, good family, great co-founders, great team members. We also work with some very, very good clients, some very extremely hardworking mediators. So I think there's been a lot of, with God's grace, a lot of luck involved in the journey. Very grateful. And I think second is, like everyone, I think like most of the people, right? It's the journey started with a pure love for mediation as a process. I think such a wonderful process. It just makes so much common sense, no? Like it's so wholesome. It's based on empathy, fully collaboration driven. So the journey started like that in 2015. But I think gradually the shift I've seen in Upasana and myself is that from a pure mediation enthusiast, now the love is towards building an organization, towards building what kind of processes, how to manage people, how to manage the product, how to manage finances. And I feel there is a different kind of joy in that also. And I think for me, that role shift has happened recently. I think that's the broad aspects of my journey to.
Thank you for sharing that, Pranjal. And I can understand sort of starting an organization. I read a quote from Elon Musk. It's like being an entrepreneur is like wearing a crown of thorn and eating glass and enjoying it. So,
For
I
sure,
can,
for sure, agreed.
yeah. But you're doing brilliant. It's like Sama, everybody knows it, everybody, and we will ask more about Sama because it's like, I think one of the foremost ODR online dispute resolution platform that India has seen. So Kriti, I think you want to go next. Yeah.
So Pranjal, but before I go next, just adding to whatever you shared, yes, perhaps you have been very fortunate with all the events that you have faced so far. But it's also about not just about running an organization, because the three of us are onto that journey, but it's also about, at least our vision with the courts is creating that network, creating an amazing cohort of people, the like-mindedness, where it's easy. So our participants today are here, our students. So it's also easy for the students and our prospective trainees to, to intermingle with the like-minded people. So I think that's another vision that we are carrying forward. So, and with this organization. So, and all right.
This is absolutely brilliant. I really echo the fact. I think the role which youth can play, I think we ourselves, like now there's so much shift in law schools amongst adoption for mediation, highly needed, when we were in second year, third year, there was a corporate binary. Yeah, to corporate lawyer, yeah, litigation lawyer, but
yes,
that's not the thing anymore. You can make a career in ADR, you can make a career in mediation case management. And I think we need to speak more about that for sure.
That takes me to my next question, that when we talk about ODR, what exactly do we understand by that? And is it only the online mediation that it encompasses of, or do we have something more in it when we talk about ODR? So can you briefly introduce what's ODR and how is it different from online mediation to the participants?
Right. So I think at a very basic level, right? As in, for us also, how it started. Like, I think we had a similar seminar in a college, and it was given by Justice Pinaki Chandra Ghosh. He was one of the retired Supreme Court judges. He's also the first Lokpal of India. And he gave the seminar. He was talking about access to justice. And after he was done, my question to him was that, sir, we have a huge backlog of cases. Why do judges in India have summer vacations? Why do you guys have Durga Puja break, winter vacations? And मुझे लगा बहुत relevant question, it's a very pointed question amongst my batchmates. I was feeling damn courageous. But I think this was 2015. He looked at me and he smiled. He smiled at my ignorance. And then he told me about a life of judge in India. And they do not have a life. They are tremendously understaffed. He himself, when he was in Calcutta High Court, he used to deal with 150 matters in 6 hours, which is almost like 6 minutes per matter. We didn't have the infrastructure support. We all know what the judge to population is. So 5 crore cases pending, but leave 5 crore cases, there are some 70 crore cases which are not even getting filed to the court. Like people like my parents will never file cases because the amount of time and energy, it's just not worth it. And that's the unmet market. So, and he really scolded me, properly. And I got scared. And my question to him was, boss, like, sir, how can we help the courts? And his answer was, Pranjal, don't come to court. आप कोर्ट मत आओ, out of court settlement try karo and try to leverage on the power of technology. And I think that in very basic essence covers the definition of ODR, right? Out of court settlement processes, which are your negotiation, mediation, conciliation, arbitration, lok adalats, all of them, when they are brought online, when all the ADR mechanisms are brought online, ADR becomes ODR, online dispute resolution. And guys, if there's any follow-up question, if something you're not going through, just put on chat and we'll immediately address that. So that is at the very basic level definition of online dispute resolution. So ODR, online mediation, is a subset of ODR. It is one of the ODR mechanisms. But there is also online arbitration. For example, for ICICI Bank, Kotak Bank, we do a lot of online arbitrations. There is also online lok adalats for Maharashtra, Delhi. We have been doing online lok adalats, especially during pandemic. There is also online mediation, online conciliation, for example, where Madhya Pradesh police, when someone wants to file an FIR, they will say, do you want to try mediation first? Ghar baith ke aapko try karna hai samjhauta, and they will refer the case to us. So this is all what encompasses ODR. The only one differentiating factor is all of these ODR mechanisms requires a mediator, conciliator, arbitrator, like a human being to settle the case. But there is also a set of ODR processes which do not require any sort of human resource. And that's the kind of data-led negotiation which you are seeing. For example, there's one of the largest private banks of India, X. If, for example, Dhruv has taken a credit card from them, and I'm giving an example, Dhruv, okay? So for some reason, if Dhruv could not pay the credit card amount back, okay, there's a default which happened. Now the bank, instead of sending recovery agents and instead of sending a court process, we will say, can we settle this dispute? Can we settle it online? And can we settle it amicably? Which we say, Suljao Mage Pyar. So they will reach out to Dhruv through Sama. Sama will send a notice to Dhruv. And we would have analyzed these kind of cases. We have already analyzed almost 10,000 of these cases before. So we know that these kind of cases Dhruv has a possibility of getting up 30% of waiver. So if his total amount is 1 lakh, if he gives an offer which is above 70,000 rupees, that case will automatically get settled. There is no need for a human mediator to speak to Dhruv. Dhruv, aap kitna de sakte ho? Fir Dhruv bolega 72,000. Then he'll check with the bank. Bank, aap kitna accept karoge? That level of human negotiation is not required because we have already analyzed the patterns of settlements and we have put it in one notice. So Dhruv will select, I can pay 75,000 rupees in 2 months. Bank has already pre-approved the offer. Case gets settled. No need for human mediator. The only need for a mediator is he has to sign the conciliation order. That's it. So that is the beauty of ODR, where you don't even need for low complexity disputes. I'm not saying for high complexity disputes. For low to medium complexity disputes, you do not need a human resource to help settle them. And that's what also ODR encompasses.
So I have a question for that, if you would like to answer that. So you just said that we don't need human, right? So there's no process. So is there a possibility that AI is going to come into the field of ODR now that, interests my mind a lot? Is AI going to take us the whole entire system of mediation in the coming future, or ChatGPT, something like that?
There is, honestly, Dhruv, my knowledge of ChatGPT and AI is very limited, to be very honest. But there is so much talk. Our full tech team, all our product manager, they're just trying to figure out what are the implications of, because they're having implications on each sector. So it's very obvious they will have the same in our sector. And so we don't want to get caught up in the AI wave because AI hai to hame kuch na kuch, we have to do something with AI, but there are certain use cases we are seeing. For example, one of the use cases that we are seeing is that if you're sending a notice to someone in Maharashtra, they might have a query कि ये notice का मतलब क्या है, ये outstanding amount क्या है. So there is an there's an AI tool called Jugalbandi. I can put the WhatsApp number, you guys can download it. It's very cool. You put a voice note saying that what is the meaning of this notice. Yeah, you can ask any question through voice. Okay, because a lot of people in India still don't know how to write. If you put it on your voice through a voice note, you send that WhatsApp voice note, it will translate into a written text. It will give a response through voice note and through a written text. So we see there is a lot of value in using that. Then what is the next value of AI? Now, when a lot of like 2000 cases, earlier we used to get, so guys, for example, from 2015 to 19, we only got one case. And that one case also my brother filed to show support. But 2019 ke baad, when ICICI adopted and then we started getting thousands and 10,000 cases started coming, we knew we cannot manually allocate cases to mediators. We had to use some algorithm. So there we worked with World Bank and they developed an algorithm. The mediator who knows the language of the parties, who's available, who has good subject matter expertise, he will get the case. So there AI had a lot of power. So allocation of cases, making engagement stronger in multiple languages through Jugalbandi. These are certain applications of AI which we are seeing. So I think it is on me, it is on all of us to keep reading and figuring out, where all repetitive processes can be automated through AI.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, Dhruv, that answers your question succinctly.
Thank you, sir.
Right. And also to other participants as well, because we are aware that there are a lot of concerns with the advent of ChatGPT AI. I think instead of, getting perplexed with our own future, I think it's important that we upgrade ourselves and then match up to that technology. There is no way the technology can ever take us, compete with humans as such. So like I mentioned, Dhruv, in the beginning, all systems, be it technology, be it a legal system, be it law, it's all created by humans. So we just have to upscale ourselves. Okay, I think Upasna,
So-
would you go ahead
Yeah.
with the
And I'll be a little less anthropocentric there. So I was perplexed with AI. I was quite surprised with AI. But then I read a book by Yuval Noah Harari, 21 Lessons of 21st Century. And I think everybody should read that. The initial 100 pages will sort of scare you so much that you might not sleep that day. But then it gives you the reassurance that yes, even if we are not at the center of the world, center of the ecosystem, but yes, the ecosystem works. So there was industrial revolution, there was digital revolution earlier also. We are just shifting faster now. So, and I don't want to carry on that question now. Pranjal, next question is, and thank you for that detailed answer. I think that is what these fireside chats are for, people to learn and understand more. So quickly, I want to go to my next question. You have a lot of mediators on your panel in Sama, and you have seen a lot of different mediation styles that every mediator adopts. In online method, what are the styles that you observe, and what are the styles those are popular and more effective?
Let me actually, I've noted about this actually, right? So let me give an example with different types of cases if you're handling, right? I think that will be more helpful. So we have seen when we are doing mediations for, I think there was a question also on chat regarding domestic violence and family disputes. So for Madhya Pradesh, for example, they have 1,000 police stations in 52 districts. So they get a lot of family disputes, domestic violence. So there we are seeing that the settlement rate is almost 40%. So we got in total 10,000 cases and we were able to settle 4,000 cases. By the way, the average time to settle a case is 7 days because these are such sensitive cases and sometimes the safety of parties is at risk that people cannot use mediation as a delay tactic. So we have to, at the end of 7 days, either we say that ho gaya settle or nahi hua settle. And if it is very close to settlement, we can ask for an extension. So there, by the way, so out of 10,000, 4,000 cases got settled. But out of those 4,000 cases, we are seeing that 2,500 settlement, full compliance is happening. What does that mean? That your parties mein jo bola during the settlement agreement, they are actually following that. The other 1,500 party, they said ha in front of the mediator, but when we are checking later, when we follow up post the settlement has fallen the test of time. So this happens a lot with emotionally sensitive cases. Today I might be feeling something as a wife, but 15 days later my mindset might be different towards my in-laws, towards my husband. So you can't expect me to follow the same thing. So there, Upasana's style of mediation, coming to the question, what is working, is sort of a combination of, in the beginning, a lot of venting, a lot of listening for the first, I think, 1 or 2 calls. And then it becomes into a more counseling, evaluative mode, right? So facilitated, I'm just like, there are 2-3 styles of mediation. If a facilitative mediation, if I'm a facilitative mediator, generally I should not give any suggestions. I should not intervene. I'm a listener. I'm trying to facilitate it. But as an evaluator, as a counselor, I can actually be, I can give suggestions. And in fact, a lot of the mediators in Madhya Pradesh in family disputes, we are using female mediators who are above the age of 60. So they already have that, slightly mother impact. That when they are telling the husband and wife, they listen. So I think they are playing a role of pehle facilitator, and the style then becomes counseling. I care for you. That's it. So that's one set of cases. There are other 2 types of cases. It's where we are seeing. Look, let me talk about low settlements. We are seeing low settlements in cases where the customer owes money to a bank. So in case of credit card default, personal loan defaults, home loan defaults, especially during the pandemic, the number of defaults just went up. Okay? People lost their jobs, etc. So when someone has done a loan default of 1 lakh or 2 lakh rupees, and when we reach out to them for online mediation conciliation, this is not his priority. So there we are seeing almost a 20% settlement rate. A lot of them don't want to engage. They're like, "Aap jo hoga dekha jayega. Aap kar do, aap arbitration award kar do hamare." We are not in a capacity to repay. So what can we do? Genuine customers only, but it is a challenge. But the cases where the company has to pay the customer, what kind of cases are these? Life insurance cases of Bajaj, Max Life Insurance, or e-commerce cases, consumer, like Snapdeal ke saath we did like a project where all the cases, consumer cases which were filed against Snapdeal, we wanted to just settle it because it affects their reputation, etc. So all the pending cases, now the consumer was, Upasana, they were so frustrated because for 2 years, a dispute has been pending in consumer forum over a pen drive of 1,000 rupees. Like going back and forth, Uber will take more money, So it didn't make sense for them to. So then when we call them and say, Snapdeal wants to settle, and aapko ghar baithe aapka settlement ho jayega. The only thing is after the settlement, you have to withdraw the case from the consumer forum. So there we saw the highest settlement rate, which was 60% of the cases getting settled. So the mediation style average across all 3 use cases, which we are saying, is you have to start facilitative. Starting may don't give recommendations, not this, but gradually you have to, there is value in appointing mediators who understand banking, who understand e-commerce, who understand family laws. Because when they talk, parties listen. There is also, although we are doing ODR, we prefer to appoint mediators from the same, not even state, same district. अगर आप मुरैना डिस्ट्रिक्ट पे हो तो आप कोशिश करेंगे कि मुरैना का मीडिएटर मिले बिकॉज जो भाषा है, द टोन, द डायलेक्ट, it just gives you more comfort if the person feels speaking the same way. If I appoint a Bangalore mediator for a Madhya Pradesh case, there might be a mismatch. There might be a culture mismatch. So it is very important that the style of mediators, it's very culture specific. And generally, we have seen that subject matter expertise and giving recommendations do help in closing the cases far.
I think we had a question in the chat before you had joined, Pranjal, that the participants wanted to know that what is the style of Indian mediators. So I think your answer does cater to their query as well, that the culture really has a big role to play when you are settling the matter. So it's always an advantage if the mediator also shares the culture background with the parties. So
Like
yeah.
when we did a lot of foreign mediation trainings, I was personally trained, you have to be facilitative, don't give recommendations. But in practice, we didn't see that working out that much. Parties really want someone expert to give them some gyan, some advice after venting. So I don't think so it's an either or, we have to use a combination of facilitative and evaluative.
And Pranjal, you know what is the interesting part is, I asked this question to almost every facilitator that I invite to the Fireside chat, which style? And every expert answers in the same manner, that style varies according to the parties and the circumstances, and also it changes during mediation. A facilitative mediator can become evaluative and also sometimes transformative. So, and thank you for bringing the cultural and linguistic aspect to that, because it is very important in a diverse country like India. So it was a brilliant answer. Thank you. Akansha, do you want to go next?
Yeah, Pranjal, thank you for sharing. You already shared a lot about Sama. Do you want to talk about how young professionals can be associated with Sama, be on the panel as mediators? Like, what advice would you want to give to young professionals? Because Sama is doing a great when it comes to online dispute resolution. So how can young mediators, professionals be a part of it?
Absolutely. I think that was one of the major problems we wanted to solve, because I think me and my co-founders, we have done so many trainings on paper, but एक भी case नहीं किया, and that used to really bother us. कि मतलब, it's a good brownie point on a resume, but when can we get to use our skills, practically do it in a case? So how it works, and here is where the opportunity is, right, for young people. So just to lay down the eligibility criteria, for arbitrators, they need to have minimum 8 years of experience in arbitration. For mediation, you need to have minimum 2 years of experience. So in offline mediation, before you become an online mediator with someone. So now what happens to law students? What happens to professionals who are less than 2 years of experience? So there, what we do is, we have a role called case manager. And what you do is, there is a training which you have to undergo, and then there's an interview with a psychologist. When you clear that interview, you get your first 10 cases as a case manager. The role of a case manager is that you're sort of a friend to the parties. There is a mediator. You are working as an administrative support to the mediator. But because the parties are generally scared of mediators and arbitrators, or they think of them as someone like senior head, but case manager, they really open up to the case manager. Case manager is like a bridge between the mediator and the parties and even the institute. And they help a lot in rapport building and making the parties feel comfortable. Sometimes party will call the case manager ki मैं login नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, or when is how does this button work, or what is my next session? Should I prepare anything for the next session? Who is there? All these questions are basic questions the case manager will address. So so case manager works on the first 10 cases, and we take feedback from the mediator on how the case manager was. Now, basis of positive feedback, which is a average score of 7 out of 10, he gets more and more. The case manager will get more and more cases. Generally, what we have seen, that there are case managers who have been working. Some people are very interested in case management, because gradually after your 100, 200 cases, as a case manager, you become sort of a co-mediator, unofficially, because the mediator will also rely so much on you. You'll be like, this session you only handle. Baat kar lo ek baar party se, thoda information gathering kar lo. You will only do it. So slowly that comforts are coming in now. For all the law students, guys, we have case managers like like Sushmita, Ajitesh, Vidur, I'm naming few people from Calcutta, Bangalore. They're in their third year, fourth year, fifth year, and they have done thousands of cases as case manager. Now they're mediating cases of telecom disputes, like MTNL if there's a telephone bill dispute. Because it's a very low complexity dispute, it's only one variable, bill ka amount, kya hona chahiye. So they are only sort of mediating it. So I feel starting as a case manager, working with all the mediators, working with a lot of good mediators across the country, learning, you gradually can move up to a mediator. And otherwise, you can also, like, for example, till day, we always case manage. Like the role is that once a month, a summer team member, one of the they always have to case manage one case. Whether it's an engineer, whether it's me, whether it's Akshita, they have to case manage because it keeps you close to the kind of issues people are facing. So it's very rewarding. Also, case managers, the income is not first year. 100% first year income bahut kam hoga. But live cases milenge. But after your first year, there are case managers who are actually earning more than our mediators, on the platform. Who are earning more than the law firm, jo associates hote na, day zero pe hiring hote hai, usse zyada. So I really feel there's a very strong career opportunity for young ADR enthusiasts. And as a case manager, you can work for mediation. You can do case management in mediation. You can do case management in arbitration. You can also do case management in a local adat. So just full-fledged ADR experience will and then you become, and then it can become a source of revenue for the young ADR professional. So yeah, that's the briefing.
Brilliant. Akansha, I just want to add one thing there. There are a lot of chats in the chat box. So Accords team, if you can answer the questions which we can answer, please work on the chat. I'm working on the chat because all the questions cannot be put up to Pranjal. So please work on the chat there. I would want the volunteers also.
I'll take one question from here.
Please go ahead, Akansha.
Yeah, so thank you, Pranjal, for sharing how Sama works for young professionals, enabling them to be mediators and case managers. There is one question in the chat box which you can answer, which is how law students can apply for an internship with Sama, if that's related. Yeah. Is my Pranjal, you're on mute.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So we'll just share a link. I think we'll share with the Accords team maybe. And so on the Sama website, there's register as a case manager button. So once you do that, I'll share the link with you. So after you register, we just quickly go through the profile. There's a 15-hour training, which is an ODR training. It's a 5,000 rupees training. But it's training, how does a platform work, Sama ka platform? It's not just a general ODR training, it's a very Sama-centered training. Is Sama kaise ICICI Bank ke cases handle karta? Sama kaise OLX ke cases handle karta? Because we need to know that. General mediation arbitration se hame value nahi hai. You need to know exactly kaun se point of contacts you have to coordinate and get the case settled, the proposal approved. So there's a training, 15-hour training. Post that, there's the interview with the psychologist. Once you clear that interview, you get your first 10 keys. So that's how the process. You register on the website, do the 15-hour course, clear the interview, and you get your first 10 keys.
Yeah. Thank you for helping with that, Pranjal. Upasana, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so I'm going to share both the links, Pranjal. The link for internship with Sama also, and the link for internship with Accords also, and the volunteer link also. So we're going to do it towards the end of the training, or maybe you can just connect with us over email, right?
Sure.
So Kriti, please go ahead. Yeah, sure.
So Pranjal, you did mention about the mediation and mediation in the ODR setup. So is ODR more about any other mechanism than mediation, or are there others? So in your journey with Sama, have you seen some other forms of dispute resolution coming forward, and is Sama involved into that? And perhaps, if you can shed some more light as to what is the future of the ODR and especially the online mediation. Is it that popular globally, or and what is its status in India? How well received it is here in India? So maybe a bit on that.
Right, sure. So I think one is like we work a lot with the enterprises, B2C mediation, business to consumers. We don't use the term mediation. We call it conciliation. And the reason we do that, because I think someone discussed in the chat, the mediation settlement agreements, right, or a contract, the Indian mediation law, etc., it's working. But the enterprises ka general counsel, what they wanted that, if we enter a settlement, what is the value of it? So they wanted binding value. So that's why we rename it as conciliation and mediation. And it's the exact same process. I don't think so there's any confusion between that. But the settlement agreement gets the court binding value under Section 74 of the arbitration conciliation. So that is one thing, right? With respect to enterprises, banks, they are using online conciliation. Now, the status, as I said, that there is higher value of cases, online mediations more effective in cases where the customer gets money from the organization in terms of compensation or issue, as compared to the company getting money from the customers. So that's why life insurance disputes, where the insurance premium or premium refund has to be paid from the company to the customer, mediation is more effective. But where the customer has to pay the money to the bank, mediation is lesser effective. The other ODR mechanism, which is exceptionally popular right now, is online arbitration. So arbitration itself is a lot of value. We're seeing a lot of disputes, again, from the banking sector. Whichever does not settle in a mediation conciliation, it escalates to an arbitration process. And arbitration may, three things can happen. Either there will be an award in favor of one party or against one party. The other thing is, it can be an ex parte award. The other party did not show up for the process. And the third is, during the arbitration, some sort of razinama these parties have reached. An arbitrator will just convert it into a settlement number. So these are the three outcomes we are seeing in online arbitration. Generally, I think in a global level, I think now India is really shining with respect to ODR. There are some 30 companies, ODR companies, who are building solutions, and we ourselves, like I think we, from like 1 or 2 cases in 2019, we have crossed almost 2 crore cases last month, and we saw 35 lakh plus settlements happening across different use cases, from Lok Adalats to. So there's definitely been an uptake, but I feel it's barely at the surface. There is so much potential. Like the MSMEs haven't explored online mediation yet. Construction disputes, there has been no ODR yet. So there are a lot of different use cases where potential can be explored, and I feel that in the next 3-4 years are going to be really crucial. And not to cheerlead on the pandemic, but it really pushed the growth for ODR and online media.
Yeah. I think I totally agree with you there. And Kriti, I just want to have a follow-up question there, and then Dhruv really wants to ask a question from you, Pranjal. So one thing which you talk a lot about algorithms there, and I think what I feel a little concerning is that majority of the people involved in dispute resolution or concerned with dispute resolution, when we talk about ODR, online dispute resolution, it's only video calling that we are talking about. So it's like a Zoom mediation, or a WhatsApp call mediation, or an on-call mediation, so or other forms of ADR. I'm not restricting it to only mediation, but are there any other algorithms, other softwares? For example, I know about a few, but are they popular in India?
Yeah, so I think there are a lot of ODR tools. I think, in fact, video conferencing is the one which we use the least, because what we use most is asynchronous communication. It means that both the parties, all three, like right now, what we're doing is Zoom call is a synchronous call, right? We all are together, we all are speaking. But asynchronous call is when the mediator will speak to one party, and then maybe later do a call with the bank representative, or in the night, the customer will open the platform and will put a proposal. Please give me 6 months and 30% waiver to pay back the amount. The bank will open the platform the next day, and they will respond to the proposal. Either we accept it or we reject it, or they'll give a counter. So 90 to 95% of our negotiations are happening asynchronous, if not at the same time. I also believe the reason for that is it is low to medium complexity. I think the higher the complexity, the more the need is that you do a video conferencing session, you get all the parties. So that is like, I think one major thing. I think globally, the tool which we are very keen to explore, but we haven't been able to use it till now, it's the whole blind bidding negotiation tool, which is that if someone will like give a range that 50 to 100 is my zone of possible agreement, the other party, the other side does not know this range, he'll just randomly give an offer. And if that offer is within that range, it will automatically settle. There are companies like CyberSettle and SmartSettle, which have settled a lot of these disputes, like millions of disputes using this blind bidding technology. So I think we are also keen to explore that. We are in talks, but I think that's the one future facing thing.
I think it's great that you're talking about asynchronous negotiation and processes there, Pranjal, because now when I'm inviting Dhruv to ask his question on privacy, please add impartiality and neutrality also there, because how when mediator or the neutrals are talking individually to the parties and not in the presence of the other party, how are the parties comfortable with the mediator or the arbitrator or the conciliator treating everybody equally with same amount of impartiality? So Dhruv, please, you can add your question to that.
Definitely, ma'am. So sir, I had a question in mind. Like, is it actually like really confidential privacy matters? Of course, we would have dealt with that. Was it easier for people to believe that this is like, all, because it was the first time this something online was getting started? Was it easier for people to believe that this will actually hold their confidentiality, or they are not actually getting into a fraud or something? Is their privacy, like, how was it easy to convince them? How was that thing? Is it actually confidential? And how do we maintain the standards of privacy and confidentiality at this point of time?
Right. No, I think it's an extremely relevant question, right? So I think there are 2-3 angles to it. One is, I think, as an ODI platform, there's a higher burden on us to ensure that the technology is secure. There is no doubt with respect to the process, it's fully in compliance with the law. So for example, the things which we have done, right? Like, so our platform is fully ISO compliant. It's an ISO, it's a security standard which a platform needs to maintain. We are ISO certified. Then there is also something called GDPR guidelines, which is like a global data protection regime of the European Union. It's not a requirement in India, but a lot of our enterprise clients also had branches in Europe. So they wanted to comply with those data requirements. So I think that also put a higher pressure on us to comply with those guidelines. And it took a lot of time because originally, obviously, we didn't even know what all it means. So we had to study, we had to figure, the tech team had to implement. A lot of those things used to happen. So ISO certified, GDPR compliance were two important. I think the other aspect to that is also in a mediation, the thing is that the dispute and the details of the dispute are only accessible to the stakeholders of the dispute. So if there's a dispute between me and Dhruv and Akansha is the mediator, only 3 of us can access that. No one else can access that. So there's a 2-level authentication to maintain that. So I think these are certain measures we had to undertake to ensure that, the security is good. The other level to that is also, which is funny, right? As in when we are speaking to enterprises, when this question comes up, I feel I forgot, I think there was either was a director of FBA or someone who said that there are 2 kinds of companies, one who are hacked and one who will be hacked. So leaks happen both online and offline. So it's not like offline बहुत safe है. On offline, some documents which you put in a mediation room, private caucus में बहुत safe. So the risk is there as well. The only thing which we can ensure is that trying to minimize that risk as much as possible. So ensuring that we have put these rules in place, ensuring that we are compliant, ensuring our case managers, mediators have signed the DRP agreement, we call the Dispute Resolution Professional Agreement, which puts an obligation of confidentiality on all of them. I think these are the things which we can do to minimize the risk of confidentiality getting leaked. The other thing to that is also there are people who really don't care about confidentiality. Like there is general public, when we are doing online Lok Adalats, etc., and they have to e-sign Lok Adalat ka settlement, and we tell them, sir, OTP dal do to sign the settlement, and they're like, sir, aap hi dal do, ye hai mera OTP. They'll khud, and we are telling, don't tell us the OTP, you have to e-sign. But I think that's the level they don't care. Like they're like, OTP banane se kya hoga? Like so e-sign ho jayega. So I feel it's a range. So some people are fully indifferent about confidentiality, protect, like they're chill. And then there are other corporates who are very particular. So, but as an ODR platform, our burden is to minimize that risk. And that's how we continue working.
Yeah, I think, thank you for that answer, Pranjal. Hope that answers your question through.
Yes.
Thank you. And I completely agree with you, Pranjal, that the level of awareness regarding OTPs and sharing your private information and your personal information is improving in India. But yes, there's a lot of scope. So thank you for that, highlighting that. Please, Akansha, go ahead.
Yeah, Pranjal, there is a question I wanted to ask. Since you are leading ODR platform and you have seen a lot of mediations happening there, I would want you to elaborate on what are the advantages and limitations of doing mediations online as compared to an in-person mediation. And while I ask this specifically from the point of view that we are doing online mediation trainings from past 1 year now. So, and just to remember our participants again, we have an inquiry form which you can fill in case you want to know more about the mediation training. So Pranjal, come back to the question. How would you compare these two forms of mediation trainings happening, the advantages and disadvantages?
So the advantages and disadvantages of online mediation, I feel a lot of advantages. Obviously, I think few of the clear advantages that if you are spending physical court proceeding, like generally we say that if it takes you 100 rupees in a physical process, it will take you 10 rupees in an online mediation process. There's almost a 90% cost saving factor, which is there. Like we have seen banks who, after using a Sama mediation clause, have seen a 63% saving in their legal cost, which is huge for those for the senior management, right? Because they're saving a lot using online mediation. So that's one. I think the second is you save a lot of time in resolving these disputes. I think the average time which we are at Sama we are taking is 126 minutes over a period of 15 days to settle the case. And this is fully like you can set your own schedule. Mediator say after office baat karna hai. There are some farmers who only get free in the evening or who only are free very early morning. So most of flexibility is fully there because you don't have to come anywhere physically. So time, convenience, money are the very, very obvious benefits which we are tangibly seeing in our cases. I think the limitation which we are seeing is, I think it is building that rapport with the parties, or it is building that personal touch, especially in emotionally sensitive cases. Like it was very, like I think it was very personally heartbreaking for me that we had a case which was showing settled on the platform. Our compliance team called the wife and she said, "Haan, sab theek hai." They had a relationship. But then there were some people who were making a documentary on Sama. So they went and they met in person, that wife uske ghar pe. She said, "Sama se kuch nahi hua. Mera to abhi bhi problem chal raha hai." So, and she said, when they called, Sama people called, I just lied to them ki mera case solve ho gaya. Because I think, so we were not able to build that rapport or trust with that party online. So I think, and that party in fact lied ki mera settlement ho gaya. She continued. So our purpose was not achieved. So I think it gave us a reality check. We have to figure something out, right? For these emotionally intense cases, some more, first of all, maybe 7 days is not enough. Maybe online sessions are not enough. We need to have some sort of hybrid touch to that so that actual resolution happens. I feel that is one limitation, like trust building in emotional disputes. Because in transactional cases, you don't need a lot of trust. It is okay. It's a 1 lakh ka dispute hai, 50 saal mein settle karna, all those things. But emotionally intimate cases, mother-in-law, father-in-law, neighbors, so that requires more trust building. I think that's one limitation which we have experienced in our ODR journey.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Pranjal. So I think I do agree to this because when we teach our students the difference between mediation and, let's say, court procedure, we do talk about these differences. That there is a saving of cost, saving of time. And when we are moving to online mediation, we are further reducing that cost and time in mediation process to getting it done online. And when you talk about the limitation, interestingly, so when Upasana and we were designing all the mediation programs and even other trainings that we do, in every training, we do include different types of check-ins, mindfulness, just to build that trust building and that rapport building with our students, with our trainees. Because we do realize that in online platforms, we are not in the same room where we can share, where we can see the body language. So building that rapport with our participants is very important when we are actually believing or moving towards learning while doing. So thank you for bringing that out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pranjal, your response actually gets me into thinking that what are these cases that you mentioned 2 crores cases, right? So Sama is at present, I think so far it has been able, or let's say they're still dealing with 2 crore cases. So majority of the court annex mediations are, on the family disputes, which of course have a lot of emotional aspect to it, right? So if we are talking about ODR and if Sama is already working on this area, so what sort of matters do we actually see, getting resolved through this ODR? So, and what would be the challenge, if at all, other than this emotional aspect, especially in commercial matters? Because this rapport building is a very important part of the mediation, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So if this is a problem in family disputes or in matters where there's emotion is involved, so I think similar challenge will come across even in commercial mediation. So how do you deal with that? Yeah.
Right. So I think for ODR, right, what kind of use cases? I feel like we strongly believe any use case, honestly, till the time the law says कि इसको ODR नहीं करना है, except that everything is suitable for ODR. Because whatever you're discussing, same cheese discussion online ho raha hai, the case documents are getting uploaded, communication is happening, settlement, everything is fully fine. The thing which we have discussed, like which I was talking about in the emotionally intense matters, we have realized that the ways to tackle that is just phone call is not enough. It has to be done over video. 7 days timeline is not enough. We have to increase the timeline. And even in like domestic violence mediation case, the settlement agreements cannot be a long-term agreement. 1 saal ya 2 saal. It has to be a very short check-ins. 15 din tak, he will not drink alcohol. There needs to be a check-in after 15 days. Did he actually, the husband did not do, did he agree to that? And then if her safety is at risk, we have to coordinate with the police and ensure that she gets that sort of support from the police. So I feel there are ways where ODR can become effective in these cases. The other challenge, I think, the other one, like other 2 challenges, I think, which we're trying to solve for is getting consent, which means that if, for example, ICICI Bank has initiated a case against, just to give an example, right, against Kushi, for example. So ICICI Bank बोल रहे खुशी को आ जाओ mediation करते हैं, let's try to reach a settlement. But Kushi says no, basically. She does not. So the consent rate is a big challenge. Like a lot of people, they don't understand mediation. उनको लग रहा है कहाँ से notice आया है, समा क्या है, what is this SMS, what is this email. They won't participate. So I think like it's a thing in mediation, right? Getting people to the mediation table is like half the job done. So how to get that? I think that is a challenge. Like right now, we are seeing a consent rate of 40-45%. Like if we send out 100 invitation letters, 40 people are consenting and they're coming to the mediation. The other 55 people, either they say no, hame nahi karna hai mediation, or they're not reachable. It's a non-starter. Their phone number doesn't work, their email ID. So they're not even receiving the notice. And India, data hygiene is a big issue. Banks do not do regular KYC, so the data is not updated. They might have a very old phone number, etc. So I think solving for consent rate is one challenge. So now what we have started doing things like, when you get an invitation notice, we are also sending it through speed post. आपके घर पे भी एक courier आएगा. And when you open that envelope, there's a notice. We call it the notice of peace. And उस notice के साथ एक dairy milk का chocolate भी होगा. To show, that it is a very collaborative process. Why don't you try participating in that? So there are different ways you're trying to get the consent rate. The second thing is capacity. We say that we have 3,000 mediators, case managers, but we are actively using only 20% of it, which means we are actively only using 600 mediators, case managers. The other 2400, either they are not very well trained और उनके साथ वो trust build नहीं हुआ है that we freely आँख बंद करके we can allocate them cases. So I feel getting good quality of mediators who can online handle cases is another challenge. So bringing that uniformity amongst the capacity, if we can solve for that and if we can solve for consent rate, I think ODR can really get pushed.
That's right.
Thank you, Kriti. I think there is some issue in my network, but yeah, I think I agree to that, Pranjal. And just to add, there's this question which we can relate as a follow-up question to that. Since we are talking about ODR and mediation and other portals also, can you tell us like just 3 benefits and 3 limitations of ODRs?
Yeah, so I'll obviously being an ODR proponent, I'll focus more on benefits, which is like definitely like time, money, and convenience are immense. I feel like justice as a service, no, like जैसे घर बैठे खाना मिलता है या घर बैठे that convenience, I think ODR provides. It's a very customer-centric process. Whatever you want, whenever you want, it respects autonomy, it respects convenience. I think ODR in its ideal way is a great way of delivering that. I think that's an insane benefit. I think the limitation, I think the primarily limitation which we are seeing right now is that one is because the awareness is low, so the consent rate is not the highest. The consent rate to participate in the ODR process. The second thing is that there is a lack of quality of good online mediators. I feel like being physical mediators is good, but it's a very good advantage. But I think online mediation requires little more skill set, which they need to adapt to, right? So India mein wo capacity is getting developed. We are in the process, and I think the third thing which I said, right? I think that building that rapport is definitely more challenging, right? As in, for me, building a rapport with the audience, if everyone's video was on, would have been much easier. If I was there in front of you, right? I would have done something, I would have laughed, I would have cracked jokes. But यहाँ पे I can't even see, right? What is someone asleep or is someone like they're acting? So I think that rapport building in online is a challenge, and to tackle that, but it's not to say it's impossible to build rapport online. There is still different ways in which you can build rapport, and there are different tools you can use to do that. So I feel these are the few limitations of it.
And do you also say that the fact that it's unregulated, just like you mentioned, right? There is no mandate from the law that it has to be like this. So do you think that is also a challenge?
So I feel arbitration, for example, we are following the Arbitration Cancellation Act. So if someone does not show up for an online arbitration proceeding, we give them 2 opportunities. If they don't come, an ex parte order will come against them. But online mediation, I feel like with respect to regulation topic, I think we have to be a little careful. It's a nascent sector. And if it gets over-regulated right now, it might do more harm than benefit. So I feel like so that's all. Like it should be it needs to be a hands-off regulation. It can give you the principle, but it cannot be a detailed regulation ki exactly ye hona chahiye, because it might be risky. I think ODR is still at that stage where it cannot be over-regulated. So I feel I think the balance.
I think I totally agree with you, and I'm clapping for your answer, Pranjal. We should go for lesser regulations in our life. As Indians, we're too finicky about adding more regulations, and we are kind of changing this super beautiful profession into a profession, into a more elitist profession if you're going to bring a lot of regulations. So I totally agree with you. So I just, we might take it beyond 8:30 to just with 2-3 minutes, Pranjal. And I apologize for that initially only. There's one question in the chat box which I wanted to I want you to address it. There's one, let me just find it. Yeah. So it is Nishtha Singhal. She's asking, in marital mediation, what do parties approach the ODR platform for making divorce smooth or for avoiding divorce?
So, really, right? So, Nisha, that's a very relevant question. I think it's fully parties' choice. Like a successful mediation can mean parties, figuring out ways to live together. It can also mean parties very amicably parting their ways. And in a mediation, they can discuss child custody arrangement. They can discuss how the property will be divided. Laptop kaun rakhega, jewelry kaun rakhega. All those kinds of things they can very amicably discuss and say. So we don't feel like the best outcome of mediation of a divorce case is that the husband and wife have to live together. It is really a voluntary autonomy process. What they decide is what matters, and the mediator should be able to help them reach that settlement. So we see both kinds of things happening. People deciding to living together, giving it one more shot, or people like using the mediation to part ways amicably, respectfully, because the beauty of mediation is ghar ki baat ghar pe rehti hai. It is not a public process. All your families, that everything is contained in that online mediation. So I think the benefit, that's what the party.
All right. Thank you, Pranjal. Hope that answers your question. So I am feeling like more like a rapid fire questionnaire here, Pranjal, but there are 2 more questions from the chat box. So Rudra asks that what is the legal validity of a compromise settlement reached by the parties in the police station? Is it binding on the parties? Can the court refuse cognizance on the basis of such compromise? So I know it's a big question, Pranjal. You might not be, it takes a lot of time to answer, but can you just briefly introduce? Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right. So, Rudra, I think it's a very relevant question. What we are doing right now is what we'll call like pre-litigation mediation. Like even before filing the FIR, like अगर आपका कोई problem है आपकी neighbor के साथ, you go to the thana, मुझे FIR file करना है, I want to file an FIR. The police person will tell you that we have a tie-up with Sama. If you want, you can also settle this dispute. 7 days ka timeline hai. Okay, it's a free mediation. The police is paying for that, all those things. But there are certain factors. Police cannot force people to mediation. So if the party's safety is at risk, that is the biggest parameter. Then those cases should not be referred to mediation. वहाँ पे FIR file होना चाहिए, and action should be taken. But where the disputes, जहाँ पे safety is not at risk and it's an emotional relationship dispute, they tell the party that ये है process. Then the party will sign a receipt. ठीक है, I want to try mediation. मुझे एक बार try करने का मौका दो. वो receipt का copy हमें online platform पे पुलिस से मिल जाएगा. So we will know जबलपुर थाने से ये case आया. So we will reach out to both parties. कि आपका case इस पुलिस थाने से refer हुआ है. Do you want to try? तो पहले पुलिस consent लेगा, उसके बाद हम reconfirm करेंगे. Because India में there have been situations where the police has forced people into mediation. So we have to re-clarify that. We reconfirm कि पक्का voluntary है ना, you want to try mediation, आपको कोई force तो नहीं कर रहा है. And once they come, उसके बाद we get the 7 days window to settle. When the case is settled, the mediation settlement agreement, it is like a contract. And it is not like a court decree, it is not a conciliation award, it is a simple mediation settlement agreement, which says that हम लोग का consensus हो गया. हिंदी में लिखा होगा, मराठी में, which state we are doing it. And उसमें parties का sign होगा, उसमें mediator का भी signature होगा. And but उसमें ये होता है, एक clause लिखा होता है कि अगर कोई party इस settlement terms को follow नहीं करेगी, so the other party can reach out to the police and police has to take next actions on that dispute. So this is the kind of settlements which are happening. It is the legal validities of a contract. But whereas when we do mediations for enterprise cases, as I said, they don't call it mediation, they call it conciliation, and conciliation makes it a court decree. तो अगर उसको someone doesn't follow, it's a contempt of court. So that's a much faster proceeding as compared to if someone doesn't follow a settlement agreement, which is like a suit for specific performance, which is a longer process. So that's how the legal validity is getting that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I think, Pranjal, we can add there that heinous offenses are not referred to mediations.
Heinous,
And
yeah.
yeah.
So
And I think
non-compoundable criminal cases is not a sin. Like they are
not
allowed.
yes. All right. So there is one more question, and there is one more question regarding the career building opportunities of students in ODR, and also I think group wants to know more about how to apply to Sama. So maybe there you can just briefly tell about how you've already mentioned how students can work with Sama. Maybe you'll share the link and I'll share it with the participants. And if you allow me, I just want to briefly talk about what are the career opportunities in ODR. And if you want, then you can add to that, Pranjal. So there are a lot of confusion regarding what are the career opportunities and how students can build a career in ODR, in ADR and ODR. So ADR I am taking. See, you can be an advocate participating in ADR mechanisms like mediation and arbitration and other mechanisms. You can be a mediator yourself. You can be a coach or a trainer who is coaching and training in mediation. You can be a consultant with corporate houses and giving them advices over better and sustainable dispute resolution mechanism. There is an entire wing of people dealing with how to draft a dispute resolution clause in a contract. So if you're getting into contract drafting, you know how to draft a contract and you want to learn more. There also there's a scope of professionals who are experts in dispute resolution. There are workplace mediation, which is coming up in India, and you can be a part of that. As academicians, you can learn about mediation and teach about mediation. Even as a person who is not related to law, mediation can help you, even if you are a counselor, you're a marriage counselor, you're a psychologist. So these are different possibilities that you could get into after I'm talking about being trained as a mediator. After getting trained as a mediator and getting trained as a restorative justice facilitator, there is a lot of difference that I have felt in my life. So, and Shivani, I'm seeing your comments. You can connect with me separately. Alternative dispute resolution is not per se law, it is a concept. And we can discuss that separately. I think I can understand there is a lot of doubts that you're facing. So now coming to you, Pranjal, can you, if you want to throw light on that?
I think with respect to potential career opportunities, Upasana.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have covered everything, right? I think these are all the potential career opportunities. I feel like there is like the lawyers who are working with, they are doing their normal law firm, yeah, jo unka chambers hai, they are running that. But the other 50%, they are spending their time on Sama. So either it is through online mediation, online arbitration. Now there are certain arbitrators who are doing a lot of cases. So they have become almost, I'll say 80%, like unka revenue is coming from online arbitration, and 20% they're doing offline. For law students, I feel, guys, like just start case managing. I feel like there is nothing better than actually speaking to a party jiska problem hai, and that first call, that how you listen, how you reframe, sab kuch, everything gets tested there, and you'll have all kinds of experience. I think parties have abused us, they have scolded us, they have given us, they have swiggied us like dominoes when their case settled, like all kinds of experiences happening. As a case manager, I feel like it is very important to just start. Like, wo pehle 5 cases, 6 cases ka experience hoga, and I think then you fall in love with the process even more, like that how effective it is in a practice.
Yeah, and I think I'm looking for the collaboration there, Pranjal, that we discussed, because it's amazing how we are taking mediation to even to criminal offenses. Now I want to wind up, Pranjal, and get to the last question, which I ask all my experts. So if you are preparing a PowerPoint slide presentation, what are the 3 slides that you will add if you're making a presentation on ODR and mediation?
Right. I think with respect to mediation, I think the first thing which you always try to tell it's not new. It's nothing, koi naya, innovative, futuristic cheese nahi hai which we are trying to adopt. It is Indians have, like, we always believed in talking and solving our cases. I think everyone knows, right? The first mediation being Mahabharat, Lord Krishna trying to mediate between Kauravas, Pandavas. Mediation failed, Mahabharat happened. When family disputes used to be there, we used to go to the elders of the family to talk. Panchayats, community mediation. So, baat karke settle karna is not new. That these are different terms: conciliation, mediation, arbitration. But ultimately, it means using communication, using dialogue to settle your disputes. And so, before the whole Anglo-Saxon system of court, this is our OG way of resolving this. So it's not new. That will be my one slide. It's not new. Second would be, I think I always like to say that to create proof, right? You have handled 2 crore cases and there are 35 lakh settlements. So ho raha hai. People are using it. Cases are getting filed. Cases are getting settled. So jump, like if you, the train is already going. So just jump on the wagon. So there is a lot of social proofing around it. And third, I think, is my favorite line, which is "Suljhao magar pyar se." Like, I think I strongly believe in it. Like, right. And when we say pyar se means collaboration. Pyar se also means the convenience of technology, the efficiency of technology. Aram se case solve होगा. सुलझाओ अगर प्यार से तो is everywhere. ना तो हमारी टीम में अगर कोई झगड़ा होता है या घर पे मम्मी पापा भी कोई इशू होता है, सुलझाओ अगर प्यार से तो it's like a family draw.
I was waiting for you to say that. Suljhao magar pyar se.
Yeah. And it was taken from a truck, you know. Upasna, trucks have written "Dekho magar pyar se." Trucks ke piche likha hota. We took.
I can totally relate to that.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So, all right. Another question of mine is, Pranjal, who are the 2 individuals whom you admire professionally and look up to?
I think 2 people. One is like, so I don't know whether you know this person. Is a person called Sister Shivani. She's a spiritual leader. She's a very good. I think I've been exposed to her since my class 9. There's a part of this organization of Brahma Kumaris. She speaks so well. I feel when I look at her, I see a mediator, and I think she's just very composed. And I think I've learned a lot from her. A lot of the spiritual practice have also helped in life generally. So I think she's one person I really look up. Other is my mother. She's an entrepreneur. She has been a homemaker, joint family ke saath. She ran her own business for 25 years. Very persistent. Now she sells herbal beauty products basically, and she sells it in like 16 countries, and she has like 2 lakh YouTube subscribers. She's very cool, and I think the way she runs a family, she runs a business and manages the joint family, I think it's exceptional. Those are 2 people.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That is true women empowerment that we're talking about there. So thank you. And the last question, Pranjal, is there a quote or saying that you would want to share with us today? That will be our quote of the day.
Quote of the day. I'm sure no guesses for that, right? I think I already said that. So,
Good answer.
yeah, I want to leave with that, but a justice system which believes in Suljhao magar pyar se, I think it's a good justice system to be.
I agree with you. Suljhao magar pyar se is a brilliant quote for the day.
Thank you.
And I think we're going to share that in a post as well. So it's not a bumper sticker anymore. It's the tagline of one of the most efficiently performing ODR platforms in India. Thank you.
Absolutely.
For those who are joining
Suljhao magar
us,
pyar se.
for those who are joining us from beyond India, it is resolve but with love.
Yeah.
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 All right.
I also
So
feel like
Pranjal,
there was some question on chat I was not able to address. I just put my WhatsApp number and my email ID, guys. Just reach out. There's a lot we can discuss and lots we can do together.
Brilliant. Thank you for doing that, Pranjal. However, the accords team tried to answer the questions, and any question which remained unanswered, you can please connect with us also. We are also sharing our email ID in the chat box. I am quite active on LinkedIn if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn. So thank you, Pranjal. We are not going to hold you back more. It's like already 12 minutes over 8:30 p.m. And I would want to thank everyone who joined us today. So we are going to share the inquiry form for mediation training again in the chat box if somebody is interested to know more about the training. And Pranjal, before going, do you want to like wrap it up or talk about it's quite an active participation that we saw today. So if you want to go ahead and say something.
Absolutely, no, just really grateful, yeah. Upasana, Kriti, Akansha, everyone, yeah. Thank you so much. And let's do something together. So if you have any ideas,
Yeah. I have a lot. See, I told you about the police officer that we trained in the last training. So serendipitously she contacted me, and I think it's a brilliant thing that. So let's meet again and discuss this further.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranjal. And I would like to thank ADR cell of Maharaja Agrasen College also for being such an active ADR cell. Right now, it's like almost trophy clinics that we see in majority of colleges in India, but your ADR cell is doing some brilliant work. So thank you, Kriti, for that. And Khushi.
It was a wonderful session. I think my own understanding of ADR has elaborated a lot, especially with ODR. And yes, I think Pranjal, before we wrap up today's session, we would want to do something with the case management course for the students. Here, we can begin something with the ADR cell. I think that initiative will help students a lot. And like you also said that you wish you had something of this opportunity in your initial years of legal profession. Yeah. I would want to bring that to my students. So,
Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you, Pranjal. Great evening. Yeah,
please follow us on LinkedIn. We have more events coming up. All right. Thank you, Pranjal. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
I'm going to end the meeting now, Kanchan.
Yeah.